How'd you get into your work now?
So I grew up on the Bowery on the Lower East Side.
Mhm.
My father's an artist, he's an abstract painter. So I grew up in a world of color and form. So creativity was just something that we did. It wasn't, didn't even feel special at the time. You know, my dad would be in front of a canvas, paint splattered jeans, Stevie Wonder's A Song of Life playing on the record player, and I'd be writing on the ground or drawing, and it was just what we did. But as a kid, watching my dad take on all types of jobs just to support his art, for everything from, you know, dealing blackjack for the mob to, you know, having a being a Central Park buggy driver to being, you know, a merchant marine. I also picked up like some beliefs or stories as a kid, like shit, if you color outside society's prescriptive lines, you got to pay a rebellion tax. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't. That's hefty. It's, you know, he's my hero because he always did what he loved and what he was passionate about. He never compromised, but it came at a cost, a financial cost often, and like the roller coaster of the art world. So that kind of led me to commercial creativity. Like maybe I can do this thing and, you know, be creative and get have a healthy paycheck and also feel like I'm in something and not be so risk fueled. But I learned as an adult later on, looking at my dad, and he's a gifted artist, but he's not a stellar businessman. So, but the stories that we learn when we're a kid, you know, kind of stays with us. So it took me many, many years to start to make the leap and to switch to realize that I had an old limiting belief that had been running like, hey, there's a big risk if I just, you know, do create the kind of work that I want to do that's outside of building something commercial. So that was like fast forward to me writing this book. That was actually the that moment where I had that epiphany of like, hey, of course I can write this book. Why wouldn't I write a book? Oh, because this limiting belief has been hanging around, you know? So I went the route of commercial creativity, did that for many years. And then I knew it, you know, I knew where the ceiling was, the floor was, the walls were, and it was limiting, but safe and cushy. And on paper, it still was good. Sometimes good is the comfort, is the enemy of
Yeah,
doing
makes perfect
something
sense. Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
really great. So, because it wasn't bad. But I had like this little voice nagging me at night, like, hey, what might happen if you channeled your creativity into building your own damn dream, your own business, your own brand? And I was like, I don't even know what that would be. Like, where would I begin? What does that even look like? Like, no, 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 this is fine. This is fine. And it took my mother passing away suddenly in 2021 during COVID to really give me that kick in the peach and a reminder that this life is finite. Like,
Yeah.
hey, what am I so afraid of losing when I'm going to lose it all one day? Like, I
Yeah.
saw it and it was visceral and heartbreaking. But also, she gave me the passing gift of courage. Like, what am I so afraid of? Like, so what? So a month later, I decided to launch Kollektiv Studio and see what would happen on the other side of what I knew and how I also had done a coaching certification because I was interested in figuring out different ways of working with the art of transformation, which is very similar to creativity, but also helping unleash people's creativity and using different, it would take different relational tools in which to do that. And that was really exciting. And so then when I launched Kollektiv Studio, I had like coaching on this side, creativity that I wanted to do differently on the other, and had no idea how the two would intersect or what it would look like. And like all creative projects, you know, you learn by, you figure it out by walking, you know, you figure it out by doing it. If you wait until we know, then we'll be waiting a long time, you know.
Yeah.
So the dots did connect after a couple of years. Like, oh, wait a minute. Okay, I am creatively partnering with visionary rebels, you know, inspired misfits and unconventional dreamers to bring their wild ventures and visions into the world to create an impact. Great. And I do that
Very
through
well said.
coaching and creativity.
Yeah.
Very
You
well
know?
said. I love that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Because when you just continue following that path, it all makes sense. But we try to figure it out. There's nothing to figure out. Like
Mhm.
you just have to keep going. If you head west long enough, you'll hit the west coast of any country you're on. And I think that's what it is. People are trying to figure stuff out. There's nothing to figure out. You really just follow that energy, and it'll lead you into the splicing of the two, like you said, the creativity and the coaching. And that's the message. That's a beautiful message, because people are trying to figure out how to get their life started. I'm like, just keep walking. Just
Keep
keep,
Yeah.
yeah. If you
Is
fall,
that the Rumi quote? Sorry to interrupt you. The Rumi quote, once you start walking, the path appears.
yeah,
Oh
yeah,
yeah. We were just talking about Rumi on another episode like a week ago. It's funny you bring up Rumi.
yeah. Oh,
Yep.
yeah, Rumi's
Which
in
is
here.
beautiful.
He's got a lot of great quotes. That's why.
So was like the catalyst. So tell me, how did things kind of click for you? Was this because of experience with your family growing up in a an art related family? Like how did things click? Was it the death of your mother? Like when did things that light bulb moment of hey, I'm co-creating. I'm part of this. I'm this reality is something I am generating.
Ooh, this is a good question. There's another good quote I'm going to throw at you, but I forget who the author of it is. But it's like, everybody wants transformation, but nobody wants to change. So for me, like that click came from a series of subtle shifts. I will point us back to one big moment, but like the reality was, it was like a series of subtle shifts that led to kind of an epiphany, if you will. And that was, I went through a challenging divorce. I don't know what divorce isn't challenging, but let's just say this was a particularly heart-wrenching one, or at least is what it felt like for me. And I felt very lost and afraid to be alone. This was, I'm going back over it, maybe more than a decade ago, but just to situate ourselves in time. And I was afraid to be alone for some reason. And I jumped into an unhealthy rebound relationship. And I threw myself into a job where I was one of three partners building a creative studio. And the work just felt so important because, it gave me some kind of purpose and something solid to hold on to. And it felt like everything was breaking apart. So I just threw everything I had, blood, sweat, and tears into that. Also, it's something society values, right? It's like, oh, you're productive. Oh, you're building. So even if everything inside feels destructive, I mean, there was something I could point to externally that other people said, like, oh, okay, she's doing all right. She's like building stuff, she's a partner, she's doing this. Wasn't a great combination in the sense what I was really doing was trying to avoid what I was feeling.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's what happens. Like I look at the universe is always trying to keep us on track, and it will kick us in the ass when we try to, like you said, avoid. So even though these things seemed to be bad at the time, they were the perfect thing for you, because if we're not listening, a siren's going to blow our ears out to kind of move away from the siren. And that's what people understand, is the universe is always working in your favor if you just follow that thread rather than saying, no, I'm going to follow society's thread. I'm like, all right, see what happens, man. It's still going to kick you back onto your path, but you're going to be tattered and beat up at the time when you're doing it. So there's an easier way.
here's the siren. The siren for me was when I got fired. So
Oh,
that was the universe pressing the brakes on my Ferrari, me getting thrown through the windshield and
yeah,
sitting on the ground looking at the shards of glass that were my life, going, what the fuck? Like, what's going on here? And I had to stop, I had to feel, I had to look. There's nowhere else for me to go, nothing else for me to do.
yeah,
That was the universe. It was tired of watching my reruns. It was like, okay, enough with this. This has been going on for way too long. And in that moment, it was my intuition. I'm not sure I would have called it that at the time, but definitely it was my intuition that was like, you got to do something different. You got to do something different. And I was being called, something within me was really calling to do the Trans-Siberian. This was obviously before all the stuff with Russia, to go on a trip by myself, to do almost 5 weeks traveling across China, Mongolia, and Russia alone. Just stop. And I remember when this is back to your dot connecting question, or like that click moment. I was on the train, on a car, hurtling across Siberian landscape on the right side of me, whisking by, the smell of sweat and like sauerkraut around me, and staring at a Russian man in a wife beater cradling a bottle of vodka. It was
yeah,
a whole scene. And I remember sitting back and thinking, oh my God, I created this moment. I brought myself here. I made this. We're talking set design, costume design, score, location scouting, the whole nine. I'm not only a creative director at work, I'm creatively directing my life. That was it was one of those real penny, I don't know, it was like $1 million drop moments that created one of those really big shifts. And it was like my own life, like the train. You know, when a train moves on to a different track and the track just kind of breaks and turns a different way. I veered right, luckily, with the universe's help, and brought with me a new awareness.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
Was.
Yeah. I mean, you're what? So where were you before you went, to this Russian space, or you went and did this trip? Where were you
Were
at?
you already in Europe at the time?
No,
or-
I was already in Copenhagen, and that was the
you
other
were.
thing. I was on a work visa. This was before I got my
You get
citizenship.
fired. How's that work when you have a work visa?
Yeah.
You get
So
fired.
I was connected to Copenhagen from a work visa, and I had 6 months to find another job, or else I would be kicked out of the country.
Yeah.
And so I could have easily let fear continue to run the show and stayed in that unhealthy relationship, trying to make that work when it wasn't working, try to push to find another job when I was exhausted and really needed to regroup. But as I said, like there was something else in me that was like, no, you need to do something different.
Nice. Yeah.
See,
That's a brilliant thing is once you have that click, there's no going back.
Mm.
Sometimes you still have remnants of the old program comes in and like, I don't know about you, but when that old program rears its head, it's so painful. I have to just let it go. I can't even suppress it anymore, which the brilliance of this whole system. But like, there's no going back once you step over that threshold. And I think that's why a lot of people are sometimes scared. They're like, they don't know what it's about. I'm like, yeah, it's not necessarily the easiest road, but it's the only road to take.
yeah.
It really is. Like, it's not necessarily, it gets easy over time. Like, I've been doing it for a while. But in the beginning, man, it's like this back and forth. But I'm like, yeah, once you know something, you can't unknow it. And that, it's like, but there's something brilliant about that. It makes you alive. I think, I see a lot of people that are very copacetic in their life and things are going good based on society's norms. And they're just cruising along. But I see this like death in their eyes. Like, man, I'd rather lose my job and feel alive than to sit there making close to 7 figures and just being, okay, let's see what happens next,
Yeah.
Um, but the cool thing is you could have both. That's the thing. It's like years ago in the spiritual world, like especially with religion, they talked about how poverty was the way to go and letting go of worldly possessions. But now it's like, no. Like, you don't attach to the worldly possession, but allow it to come in and allow it to go. Yeah.
Yeah, that's part of one of those old scripts for me.
Yeah.
Scarcity. Woo! That's
Yeah.
sorry, go on.
No, me too.
Yeah.
Scarcity we all have these common themes running through, which is, I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy, life is hard. It's a society, it's the culture that gets drilled into us. It's the lack mindset. It's in our media. It's all over the place. What I find interesting is you're coming from a totally different type of culture over there in Copenhagen. It's not. Is it westernized? Like, what's your take on the whole cultural difference between like Western America versus like where you're at and what you're hit with daily, as far as like do you have the same propaganda on your news? Like here in in the States, a lot of people don't know that our news is propaganda.
I'm very careful. Actually, it started with writing my book. I started an elimination diet because when you're in the depth of really creating something, you need to shut some stuff off so that you can get silent and hear your voice and create space for what needs to come through. And that shifted my relationship with social media, but that's probably another podcast. But it's like a whole different, because even though I'm in Copenhagen, culturally I'm very connected to America, right? So I could be hearing the propaganda and listening, but I'm shutting that off because it's not good for me. It's not good. It's not doing me any good. But in Copenhagen is very different. Doesn't have the same culture of striving.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like if you just push hard enough, if you just throw yourself at it, it is, because here's the interesting part. Once you hit a certain figure work-wise, you have to pay a top tax. It's called top tax. So it's like an extra tax on top of the tax you already pay. So actually, if you get promoted and you have more responsibility, you will still not earn as much because of this top tax and you'll have more to do. So you can imagine the impact of that on like, upward mobility. It's like, I'm okay. I'm just going to stay below
Yeah,
this
right
like
below that threshold.
this top tax. I mean, of course, there's some people who are wildly ambitious, don't get me wrong, but it's kind of de-incentivizes like the whole like keep going higher, higher. And there's a big focus on family here. So it's very normal for people to leave work at 4, sometimes 3:30 to go pick up their kids. Maybe they come back online after, do an hour of work, maybe not, but it's really, what is that expression? People work to live, they don't live to work. And I
Yeah.
guess that would be the simplest way of describing the difference between the States. I mean, generalizing between the States and Denmark. I mean, did you know? I don't know if the statistic is still valid, but a couple of years ago, I read research that 51% of Americans don't take their whole 2 weeks of holiday vacation.
They can't.
Yeah, I was
Because
gonna say
yeah,
cost of
and I
living.
think that's what it is. It's like like even like that's set up in Denmark. There are people that are always going to be high achieving, but you don't have to ask them to do that. But here in America, and it's about 1% of society will do this, but everyone else is trying to maintain that level, and this is where anxiety and stress come out. I'm like, no, you're not supposed to do that. Let the person become a billionaire. I don't give a shit, but I'm not trying to chase that. Where here people feel bad with like, and that's where the poverty level here, it's like, oh, it's getting worse. I'm like, is it getting worse, or is the amount of money on the top end getting better to where it's creating a differential? So then, making $30,000 a year now seems like you're below the poverty level. So here it's because we're constantly focusing on other people and comparing. Where I'm in
Mm.
Denmark, I'm like, you don't do that. Like, you don't probably compare it to somebody else because everyone, you know, if somebody wants to work 50 hours or 60 hours or 70 hours, go for it. But it's not driven for everyone to do that because there are people that love to do that, and that's, they're needed. But not everyone should be doing that. And you see this high energy here in the United States where everyone's telling everyone they have to do this. And they start to, okay, what you need to do is you need to not waste your time having fun.
Yep.
You know,
Because
it's a
the
waste of
story,
time.
the story we're sold, right, is that our worth is based on what we produce.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who does that story serve?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not us. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
I've always looked at it from a vantage point where we given this prescription of the way to live in a
Mm.
backwards way, but I look at it as a joke. It's for to wake up one day. It's kind of like you're from New York, so you know this. The way I was raised is my dad kept throwing stuff at me that was completely off the wall, but to see where I was if I were to buy into something. So he's in a weird way, he's trying to protect me from the world. So he would tell me these lies that he wasn't purposely. I mean, he wasn't cruelly doing it, but he was doing it to see if I would buy into anything. So by doing
Like what?
just like they would tell you to go out and do something or look for something that didn't exist. So you go out and do it and you realize it's not there. And it's like, okay, you just learned something. I'm like, don't listen to
Mm.
everything somebody tells you. It's
Mm.
kind of like, I'll sell you the Brooklyn Bridge. I'm like, no, I already purchased the Brooklyn Bridge last week. So over time, you realize, man, I've been playing with so much. Now you actually have to step in and listen to your own intuition.
Mm.
You can be jaded by that way of growing up, but I look at it this way. I'm like, we've been told a lie, but I'm like, have we been told a lie, or they've been giving this stuff to push us back into the truth? And that's how I choose to look at it. Because when there's so much lies out there, the truth stands out brilliantly. But if they just a little bit of lies and more truth, we can be stuck in purgatory. And
See,
that's how I look at life. And I'm like, that's I'm like, bring on your lies because I can see right through them.
the
Mm.
the
Yeah.
hard part is though, like we're in this culture that like unless we have an authority figure telling us that that truth is allowed or that truth is correct or right, we we doubt ourselves or we doubt it. And that's the unfortunate part is we have taught people not to listen to that voice inside of them, that that voice can often be incorrect and it needs to be verified by the outside world, this
Yeah.
non-existent digital pixel, creation that we've been hoodwinked about what this reality really is. And we're not
Mm.
taught to listen in here and go within. In fact, we're taught the opposite, that we have to validate out here. And once we get the validation out here, then we're allowed to feel safe inside. And that's what's been this whole issue.
Because yeah, because it's quite revolutionary to follow the voice within and not what everybody else is telling you. Imagine how challenging that might be to manage, right? So, I mean, yes, I believe we can look at it with any perspective we want to look at it, the stories, the lies, the truth. But I do think it's interesting to also just look at it analytically, like, okay, we have these cultural stories, we have these myths and beliefs, and like, who do they serve? Because then if it doesn't, if it, we can ask, is this belief helpful or harmful?
Yeah.
If it's harmful, if it's helpful, great, keep it. If it's harmful, we get to write a new one, right? We get to decide what's a new belief, just like you did. You wanted to write, like, what's the new, how do I want to see the lies? And then you write your perspective or your belief about it. We have a chance to do that. We're conscious creators. And then we have to create evidence that we believe that, because not enough just to hold it, right? If I'm like in the middle of rewriting a scarcity script and I'm saying, look, I believe the world is abundant. I'm an abundant source. Energy is just, money is just energy, and it needs to flow. It flows in, it flows out. It's just energy. If I believe that, then I need to act like I believe that.
Most
And that's
importantly,
where the
feel
real,
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Because
yeah, of course. Well, sometimes part of feeling it is doing it. So then, like, for example, if I'm more generous, if I go to the grocery store and want to buy 3 wishes and spend $10, and that little voice is going, really? You're gonna spend $10 on cereal? I'm like, yes, I'm gonna do I'm gonna do that because the world is an abundant place and it's fine and I can eat that cereal. It's like in the small things too, because then you're kind of showing yourself, hey, I'm creating evidence that I actually do believe this and I'm gonna live
Good
by it.
point.
yeah, and
Good
that's
You
point.
yeah,
know?
'cause a belief is a catalyst to knowing, and I think that's what it is. Is like a
Mm,
belief is like I'm not really sure, but I'm going to follow this thread. It's
mm,
once you know, you can actually let go of the belief. Like I know the sun rises in the east. I don't need to believe that. And that's what we're
mm,
here to do is use beliefs as a catalyst. Is this catalyst in the direction in which you want to go? And if it is, use it. But once you know how the universe works, you don't need to believe it works that way. It does. Then it's
mm.
okay, where do I want to go from here? Well, grab another belief and move from that direction. So beliefs are meant to let go, just like a cab is to get out, if I'm going to a restaurant, I need to get out of the cab to experience the restaurant.
I
It
love that.
yeah, it's a catalyst. They're brilliant catalysts. Like without them, like how would we get to someplace, right? And
I just find that for me, it's their practices. New beliefs are like it's a practice for me. It's a daily practice. Like I've moved subconsciously with fear as a driver,
Mhm.
not really realizing it
Yeah,
for many, 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 many years, right? And then when I became aware, then I'm like, oh shit, this New York rushing thing, that's the pace of fear.
yeah, yeah,
You're exactly
That's
right. Survival.
right. And then I'm like, oh, I need to catch myself when I'm rushing, when I'm trying to get it done now, right away. Gotta push, gotta drive. Like all of that energy is, there's a part of me that's scared.
yeah,
Scared I won't make it, scared it won't work out, scared I don't have control, which I don't, but trying to control, to grip, to force. And then if I can catch myself and become aware, I say, no, 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 no. I want to move with the pace of trust.
yeah,
Slow, slow, slow. Because if I trust it's coming. I
yeah.
trust it's here. I don't need to rush. There's nothing to do, nowhere to go. I'm here. It's all here. I'm good. But to me, that's a practice. And I think I'm going to be practicing that till the end of my days.
Yeah.
Just what it is.
Very well
Yeah, and
taken.
and that's why I like that because it is a practice. Because what happens is when you get to these different altitude changes, because through an altitude
Mm,
change, there's a differential in the body, so to speak, or what we call nervous system. So you have to
yeah.
reiterate that practice because we can't stay where we're at. Like
Mm,
this Earth is slinging through this galaxy, being pulled by the sun and whipping around. It's never in the same spot ever. So why would we think we're in the same spot? So I call it the G-force experience. People like, oh man, I feel this. I'm like, you're pushing through something. This is a good thing. An airplane's taking off the ground. You feel the G-force. It means you're going on vacation. Don't fight
mm,
it. Allow it. Because a lot of people get to that point where they're going to another level and they feel the energy like, oh, God doesn't want me to do that. I'm like, no, God wants you to relax more. It's all it is. Your nervous system needs to relax. And when you do that, all of a sudden that fear just, I'm like, it comes nonsensical.
Mhm.
But it will never stop. I'm just aware of that energy now. When I feel the energy, what is it? I'm like, there's an old rearing belief that was in me. I probably haven't dealt with it since I was 5 because I moved to this another level. Here it comes. Okay, let it come through, and boom, it's gone.
Mm,
And it's about allowing the nervous system to be acclimated to wherever direction you're going.
mm,
That will never change because I think that nervousness is the driving energy of the awareness of waking up to having the energy to move forward, kind of like revving
mm,
the engine to get from 0 to 60. But once you get to 60, the RPMs go down.
mm,
I want to elevate higher, I got to hit them up. And if we
mm,
understand the physics behind this, we won't worry when we feel that tenseness. We'll just learn
mm,
to relax through it rather than
mm,
fucking shove it down or like, I'm gonna
Or
go
fight
watch
through it.
Netflix.
mm.
Yep.
you know?
Or drink it away,
Yeah.
all sorts of there's so many different ways that we push the energy.
Yeah. And if we understand it, we're not scared of it. Yeah.
I call it the bends. So it's
Yeah.
like if we're on an upward spiral,
Yeah.
that's what I think growth is. I mean,
Yeah.
the universe is expanding, so are we. We are also the universe, right? So I think it's in our nature to grow and expand.
Yeah.
How much, how fast, how frequently is up to us. But we are always changing.
Yeah.
So it's like when you're about to round the bend into a new, bigger space, because the rung is bigger, all of a sudden you're in like a bigger sphere or bigger space. We need to build our capacity to be in that uncertain unknown and to be in a new space, including our nervous system. Like it's okay. Whoa, I've rounded a bend. It's uncomfortable. It feels, whoo. But if we can recognize, oh, it's because I'm rounding that bend again. And that's the thing. Again and again. It's not a one time. Luckily, it's not a one time deal. We're gonna come back again. I have a case of the bends. I'm entering a new space. For me, that allows more like compassion for myself. And I'm like, and it allows that fear to also be a signal that I'm moving into a bigger space.
Yeah.
But it's also okay for me, like I'm teaching myself this, to move into safety. Like I can be in the unknown, then if I want to go back to like my known couch and watch a Netflix show and eat chunky monkey, I can do that for a minute. I'm just for a minute. I meditate too. That's also very helpful. I mean, there are different ways. And then go back into this new space and learn how to feel its contours and be comfortable with all the room and run my fingers over the pink marble and look out into the bigger horizon and all of that, like getting used to the space.
Yeah. And that never ends, which I find brilliant.
Yeah.
Other than people like this never like you could look at life like this never ends. Or I'm like, yeah, this never ends. Like there's different ways of looking at it. And I choose like to do it with the wide-eyed child in me that I'm like, yeah, this never ends. Like, yeah, sometimes, you know, the roller coaster can be a nice steady pace, but then that time it's going click, 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 click. You know, it's coming on the other side of that damn thing.
Mhm.
It's like your stomach's gonna hit your throat. But this is why we're doing it.
And it does end.
Yeah. Yeah. Just boom. But
That's another perspective.
it's
There's
the
at one
greatest.
point, it ends.
Yeah.
And while we're here, we might as well feel alive.
Yeah, and I
I
think that's
mean,
what it is. Is what most people deem to feel alive, they think it's tragic or that energy.
Or
And
scary.
all it is, it's a belief that's filtered in between that energy. One is a belief of excitement, the other one's anxiety. They're the
mm,
same energy field, but
mm,
one has a negative connotation to it, and the other one has a positive connotation to it. So all you have to do is flip the script, like you said, put the horse in front of the cart rather than cart in front of the horse.
mm,
The objects are the same. It's just the direction in which we place them, and life completely changes.
mm.
And once in a while, I'm like, why is my cart in front of my horse? I'm like, yeah, shit. My wife points it out to me all the time,
And from there,
Hey,
though,
yeah, I'm like,
that's
giddy
the
up.
thing. The
Yeah,
level of awareness kicks in, and then it's
yeah,
back on track. That's
Mm,
that's the awareness that we're all working on.
yeah,
Is having that level of awareness that when things start getting wonky or when we're feeling that, we recognize what type of pull that is, and it's like, all right, let's steer this ship, in the direction we want, to go.
mm.
So, do you have like a particular process you use when you're coming across coming around that bend, as you said, that like can seat you in that and realize, okay, this is just a G force. This is about to sling me into something new. like, because that's what it is. Like, as we hear in perspective shift, we want to give people like real things, tangible things that they can use. Where, because like concepts and intellectual understanding are one thing, but the actual feeling and doing are completely different. So, what kind of processes or tangible aspects do you do to help you through those moments?
One is awareness,
All right.
because without awareness,
Yep.
you can't change anything. You
Absolutely.
can't change what you're not aware of. So becoming aware of where I am
Yeah.
and what fear is here to teach, show me. Like, okay, what kind of fear is this? Can I discern what kind of fear this is? Ooh, I'm starting to rush, or oh, I'm starting to feel my chest is feeling tight, or like my behaviors are shifting. I'm just feeling a bit anxious, right? Like what's going on? What like awareness of where I'm at. Oh, fear is coming up because I'm on the precipice of big change, right? For me, it's about entrepreneurship and practice, and the meta level is about building my capacity to be in uncertainty.
Yeah.
It's a practice, because it's a literal practice, because it's like, I don't know where the next paycheck, I don't know what the next, I don't know, but I'm going to show up fully,
Yeah.
and I'm going to see what happens. I'm going to let it on. I'm going to let the mystery unfold,
Yeah.
right? Because at the end of the day, life is uncertain.
Yeah.
That's how it is. We create scaffolding, whether it's salaried, not to say all salary jobs, but it's one form of scaffolding, PTA meetings, DMV, whatever it is that makes it feel known and safe. But the reality is, it's an uncertain, fragile existence, being a human on a planet spinning 1,000 miles per hour in one of 200 billion galaxies that are observable. It's like a
Yeah.
fragile, uncertain kind of existence, you know?
Yeah.
And so just being aware of like, oh, I'm in uncertainty, you know, and the anxiety that's here, it's because I don't know. I don't know what's coming. And then just practicing being in it. It's
Yeah.
not sexy. It's not a 3-step process. But for the first year when I launched Kollektiv Studio, I did have anxiety, but I just kept showing up. Do you know? I just kept showing up. And when it got kind of, if anxiety started to wrap its fingers around my throat, I'd have a little talk with myself and go, hey, Pia, where are you? I'm here. What's here like? It's pretty good, actually, you know? So stay here, right?
Yeah.
Stay here. Over and over again. Like, stay here. Like, because the fear is a fiction. It's the mind going off into what if this and what if that and I don't know. And if we can play the what if I colossally fail and I, can't survive, into what if I wildly succeed beyond my, biggest imaginings. And we can play all of that. But for me, building the muscle or capacity is like, you go to the gym, you pick up 5 pounds, then you pick up 10, then you pick up 15. And why is that important for me? It's because that's freedom. If I can build my capacity to be in uncertainty, uncertainty is 2 things. It's the realm of knee-knocking angst,
Yeah.
and it's the realm of infinite possibility.
Yeah.
Anything is possible
Yeah.
because nothing is known, right?
Yeah.
And so for me to be able to build that, and also to decide on how I want to be in relationship with life, because that's life. It's once again, it's like a practice. So awareness, am I in uncertainty? How am I going to support myself to build that capacity while I'm in it? I have little pep talks. I'm aware of where I am. I meditate every day. I know it's a usual one, but man, that makes a very big difference for me. Start my day with a, and I usually have a few words that I say that ground me. I trust myself completely. I trust life completely. Right? I'm grateful for all that I am and all that I have and all that's coming my way. Jump, boom, start the day, and then try to just catch myself in moments of awareness if I'm rushing. It's not the pace, it's the energy behind the pace.
I
Right?
like that.
Because we can have passionate, focused work and be like in flow and driven. But if we're moved by trust and like joy and like, I'm excited to do this, we might be moving fast. It's more what's driving me. But you can tell energetically the difference if there's fear breathing down your neck saying, come on, get to it. It's a different feeling. So checking in and then just being in it. And after that was my point. After a year of doing that, one day I didn't have the weight on my shoulders. One
Resistance.
day, trust was just in the room because created evidence for myself that I was in uncertainty. I didn't know I built this business. It's happening. I didn't die. I'm okay. It's all right. And I can trust. See, I can trust myself. I can trust life. I created evidence. My thinking mind calms down. And then suddenly the energy changes and I feel so much freer. It doesn't mean I don't worry sometimes. I'm human, but I feel so much freer. So I wish there was like a 3-step do this, but for me, it's just go practicing being in it and showing up for yourself and showing up for life, right? Again and again.
But it was the courage on your behalf to move in that direction to then learn trust. Because a lot of people, because when I first started out many years ago reading about this stuff, I read every philosophy book and spiritual book. I was intellectually sound about this stuff, but lacking in the experience, and which hurt me more. Like I would tell people what they ought to do, but I wasn't doing it. I was kind of a pain in the ass. But then over years, I'm like, okay, I want to start practicing this. And when all of a sudden I understand what the ancient masters understood, because this stuff has been around for millennia. They have, you know, this type of stuff we're talking about has been around for over 25,000 years in some of the tablets and everything. This isn't new. It's just somewhere along the line we drifted away from it. And now I believe we're naturally drifting back. And that's why there's a lot of tension right now on the planet. That's why that word fake news, even though I think it was Donald Trump that really made it alive, there's something about that. It's not really the gospel. So all of a sudden, everyone out there is like, who do I believe? I'm like, go within. Stop. You don't need information anymore. You are information. 77% of our DNA is luminous. It's light, and that's information. It's only 23 of our DNA is proteins. Like we are information. And when like you come on here and Mike is here, we share information. We expand in this field of that information, but we didn't need any information. We are information. And then because we have the ability to read patterns, we can, oh, okay, this is constructive. This is deconstructive. Let me go this way. And it's brilliant.
Yeah, but I think what makes it difficult to look within was like this for myself and for a lot of some people what I observe, okay, is that we're afraid to stop. Busyness has
Yeah.
become such a thing,
Yeah.
that it's been for many people, it's been years since they've actually stopped to feel what the fuck is going on. What are they thinking? What are they feeling? What do they want? What do they desire? What's stopping them? What's moving them? What's triggering them? Just to get curious, just to meet yourself daily. That's another practice for me. Just meet yourself every day. And there are many different ways of doing that. People have to find what resonates to them. For me, that's like journaling, free writing. Another obvious one, but works for me. It's like, how am I feeling in the morning? Like liminal space. What's going on? What's present for me right now? Meditation. What's here? Oh, my mind's in this place. Oh, she's busy. All right. Or like, oh, she's not, or whatever. Movement, moving my body. You want to shift energy, feeling anxious? Do 10 burpees. Your energy will shift in a heartbeat. I mean, literally, like
Yeah.
there's like different ways that we can work with ourselves. We have to have the courage to meet ourselves
Yeah.
again and again. And I think slowing down is not only key to creativity, it's key to creative living. It's key to connecting to that intuitive voice. It needs calmness, right?
How was
Yeah.
that transition of slowing down from New York to Copenhagen? Because I mean, that had to be a complete
Well,
shock to the body.
yeah.
Like you literally are doing
That
the
was like
exact
being on
opposite.
like a 5-level rapids and going down to like this freak just
Yeah.
moving at like a snail's pace, right? It's brilliant.
Oh yeah, it's whiplash.
Totally. But I mean, I've also been moving my whole life. So let's just add that to the mix. Like I've lived in so many different countries. Like I call myself a recovering nomad. Like Copenhagen is where I learned how to stay. So there's all different types of busyness, but how has it been? I think it's been slow. So in the it takes I've been here for a while since 2010. Jesus, it's a long time. So, and I still I would catch myself rushing to make a cup of coffee in the office in the morning. Like
Did everyone look at like, what's wrong with this woman?
Yeah, like what's wrong with you? Like I actually, this is embarrassing. I cut in front of a colleague to make my coffee first. How selfish.
They're
What a
like,
ridiculous thing.
Can you go to jail for that over there?
Yeah, like I caught myself doing that. I'm like, what am I doing? This is horrible. What's wrong with me? Like I just like literally cut, I still have those tendencies. Airports, for example. I just like people, no,
Yeah.
anyway, some of those things are a part of who we are too. And, we can honor some of that stuff without cutting people in the line. And then it's just a practice, especially when I got lifted out of my corporate environment where I still caught myself at my desk for many hours a day. I'm like, what am I doing? And it's almost like muscle memory. Like I'm just used to doing this thing, but I don't have to. And I know this is not where my creativity lives. Get up, get out, do something, switch it up. So again, it's just been a practice. And my therapist says this to me. She's like, look, don't try to be a full-time monk either, because part of what makes you you is this energy. Like you're fire and air, honey. Like you have a lot of fire, like honor it. So that was helpful because sometimes, I'm just like, I just want to be like, move like algae under seawater.
Yeah. Yeah,
Take-
you look at it that way. If you were meant to be a monk, you would have been born in the base of Himalayas, but you were
Yeah,
in New
monk.
York City. I'm like, so there's something about the cosmic understanding of that. Like we're supposed to go through all this stuff, but as time goes on, we could revise the story. Like you could tell the story even different about maybe what you've learned from your father and stuff like that. Because of that it put a catalyst. So it's like, yeah, thank you, Dad.
Mhm.
It's like all these brilliant stories, but yeah, we're not trying to be the identical understanding of someone sitting in an orange robe at the base of Himalayas. They came here to do that, and I love the fact they're doing that. But then if you came in here, I'm like, use that energy, I'm like, run with it, but don't be scared of it. And I think
Mm.
that's what we're learning is not being scared of the energy. Yeah,
Channel it.
yeah, exactly.
Channel it. Can learn how to contain it. Because when I was a kid, I grew up in a chaotic household, loving but chaotic, and
Yeah.
I learned how to contain other people, but no one taught me how to contain myself. So how do you contain your own emotions, manage them, your own energy, and then channel it? So it's not diffuse, it's like it's channeled. So channeling creativity, channeling my energy, learning where my borders lie, and that changes every day. There's a Tao expression that I love, and it's like, how much effort does it take to achieve a state of effortlessness?
For some people, a lot.
See, that's
But
great.
yeah. But hey,
Right? But you have
yeah,
to ask that every day because
yeah.
your energy changes every day, right? So every morning is like a new question, like, okay, well, how much effort today is it going to take me to achieve a state of effortlessness? And it's a beautiful one because they go together, right? It's not like one is bad or one is good. It's just different parts of what it means to be alive, I guess, and how to navigate that.
Some days it takes 20 burpees, right?
Yeah, exactly. So like
Yeah.
for me on my path, a big thing that allowed me to have like awareness and be able to let go and things like that was I at least again this is my opinion how I look at things, but I chose and selected all of this prior to coming down here. I did. And I chose my parents, I chose the situations that were going to play out and to act like I wasn't, yeah, I had amnesia, I didn't remember it, I come here that's part of this experience, but it allows me to kind of like rest into things or like not get as triggered or pulled or like anxious from them is like realizing like whoa, I chose this script prior to coming down here, this earth school, this experience. I wanted to learn all of these. I wanted to feel that forgiveness, I wanted to feel that pain to come out on the other side. So it allows you to overcome these stories we have about family, growing up, all sorts of things when you're like, huh, on a level, I chose this. And then we come down here, and then from 0 to 7, we're in our theta state and we get baked in, with all the different challenges and neuroses and bullshit that we take on and we call our identity, and call ourselves. And that's like the little, we're getting like cooked into like the experience. And then
Mm,
we take those and we learn to overcome from them. We learn to, grow from them. And that's the beauty of this experience. And
mm,
if like that was shared with people earlier on, people would stop slamming their heads against the wall saying, "Oh my God, there's something wrong." Oh, it's my parents' fault. It's the family I grew up in. It's the way I was raised. I'm this. I'm an introvert. I'm that. We take on all of this bullshit and we say, "No, this is who I am," and then we like fight to the death on it. And it's like
mm,
it's about letting go of all that.
mm. Absolutely.
We chose it, and that's
I,
what's.
I believe that too. I believe we chose this. I believe I
Oh yeah,
chose
we
my
did.
parents, my life, this for a reason. And I also think, hey, listen, we live many lives in this one lifetime.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I've learned also through writing my book, it wasn't my initial intention at all, but it's one of the consequences of the writing, was how to integrate and forgive and love parts of myself that I might have kept hidden or not brought to the fore because I moved around all the time. So I'm a pretty good shapeshifter. I usually know how to read a room, read energy, know what's needed in a certain space, know how to curate, present, how to make things safe, and it took a long time to kind of come back to my original form. I mean, I'm still gracious that I'm grateful that I can shapeshift. It's helpful, like in certain environments without losing connection to core. But I think to your point, learning how to integrate and love and bring together all these different versions of ourselves, even the ones that might have a lot of bruises and might be bloodied up, and thank them because they made us who we are today. They brought us exactly to this point in time. And if we're learning to love ourselves as we are right now, all I can do is like hats off, to previous versions of Pia for bringing me here.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what came up to me as I was listening to you because I felt like that's another part of the equation of like, yes, and I chose, but there's also work, beautiful work to do to bring all of those parts
Well, that ties
together.
in nicely. I was going to ask you what your favorite part of your book was, or what, something could help listeners, for example. Is that one of your favorite parts of your book?
Well, I think it was one of my favorite outcomes without me realizing it. And if I would share this with anyone listening, it's like being able to rewrite, literally, parts of your story or things that you might have gone through from the perspective of the person you are today, which is at a different state of consciousness level than who you were back then. That's why I have to forgive myself, right? She did the best with what she had at her level of consciousness. And for whatever reason, I needed those experiences to grow to become who I am today, right? So the process of just writing about things we might not be, I don't want to say proud of. I don't know what the words are without judgment, but we might not want to share with the world, but we can write it from a different perspective, from the perspective of who we are today. It's a powerful exercise. It's like personal narrative can create transformation. And it's not something you have to publish and share with the world. You can do that. That's a next level. But just the process of kind of reclaiming it and reauthoring it is really powerful.
Do you like Neville Goddard? Are you a fan of his?
His name sounds familiar, but he's not. What?
What Neville Goddard did, he talked about law of assumption, revision, all this, and he said if one of the most important things, if anything, that I can teach and share, if you're going to take one thing away from me, it's that of revision. And he talked about how revision, we get into the garden of the mind and we begin to prune. That's how new
Mm,
identity takes shape. That's how we step into our highest and true selves, etc. And it was just kind of mirroring a lot of this.
mm,
Listening to you now mirrored a lot of what he shared about revision and how important or how valuable of a tool that is,
mm,
because you're right, that's why we call this show Perspective Shift. How do you
mm,
want to look and perceive, and how easy it is to change the perspective, on all these situations that many of us literally carry around and keep buried, and we're afraid to share them with people because we don't want to be judged, yet we're still holding on to that it's like that is our identity and we can't let go of it. It gives you a lifeline.
mm. I'm a big fan. Like one of my biggest values is freedom.
Yeah.
So I'm always looking for things like, okay, if I need to cut those ties, how might I do it? But again, I have to be aware that I'm dragging a dead body along, right?
Yeah.
When it's
Yeah.
time to
Literally.
bury her and write a nice eulogy, put some flowers on her grave, and kind of step into my next becoming.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we
100%.
die every day in that setting. So,
I love
yeah.
that.
But isn't it nice that like you came to this conclusion yourself without ever having to read Neville Goddard?
Yeah.
Yeah, I never read. Nope.
Yeah.
Yes, that is nice.
I came up
Uh,
with MC squared and I didn't even know who Einstein was.
Right.
You know, some of the things you were talking about remind me of after the Trans-Siberian, I also did something that led to another shift, which was a Vipassana meditation. So
Okay.
maybe I wasn't born at the bottom of the Himalayas, but I got a chance to live like a monk for 10 days in a silent retreat.
That is cool.
And yeah, one thing that, the spiritual leader that brought it to America and the West and everywhere, Goenka says, is like, don't believe anything unless you've experienced it yourself.
Yes. And that's the point. Like a belief can get you to um could get you onto the roller coaster, but you can't talk about it until it's over. Or you're on it at least. And that's the brilliance of life. And that's when we were children. We lived this way, undoubtedly, because we didn't have enough beliefs in
Enough programming.
traumas. Yeah. Because even if you grew up in a somewhat of a chaotic place, you probably didn't know it. But because we didn't have enough
Oh,
um
I knew it.
I'm saying, when did you know it? It had to have been after 7 years old, because prior to that, you could deem it to be normal. And it was about 7 years old and nine when we get into the what called the beta. I mean
Yeah,
the
beta.
beta state, and we start to judge. And then you look at other people living. It's like, oh, there's something wrong here.
Mhm.
Again, I'm not saying there was nothing going on chaotic, but we were children. We had very little. We let go of things. We had very knowledge. So now, as adults, we don't have the privilege of not knowing, but we have the privilege of wisdom.
Yeah. Yes, and I will say that when I was a kid, I think there was something in me that I knew, like you just knew, like alcohol and drugs, like not a good,
Oh
like
yeah, no, no,
you can feel things even though it's not even a comparison. You just know that, oh, and this like moving all the time, and like there's some things that just don't feel doesn't feel quite like I don't want to use the word right. I don't even like the words right or wrong, but you just it's a felt
Oh,
sense
oh
of
yeah,
like,
okay.
yeah,
This is
off,
yeah,
a
yeah,
little off. And again, loving. So I'm not like it
yeah,
was very loving,
yeah,
but very like I don't know about if it's just my generation, but I think parenting looked very different back in the day.
yeah,
Anyway,
yeah. 'Cause I was raised. I raised myself.
yes, same latchkey kid and all. So it's just kind of
But yeah,
it,
you know what was wrong. But what is as children, we didn't hold on to it. Like as adults, that's the whole thing. When I work with people, it's learning to let go of stuff. When we were kids, we let go of things till about 7 years old, and then at 7 years old, we started holding on to stuff.
but what do you mean hold on?
Like if something did tragically happen when you were a kid, um,
Yeah.
you didn't get your way, you let go of it. It was gone.
Yeah,
And
but what do you mean as an adult holding on?
um,
And how does that manifest?
it manifests because every time you think about it, the same energy comes up in your body. So
Mm,
it's still like if someone died, say many years ago, and you're still breaking down to your knees like the first day they did it, you didn't let go of the system. You didn't
I
allow it
see.
through. So as kids, we easily let things go through us till about 7 years old. So we want to, and that's the thing about what Christ said, become childlike. So when we get to that place through wisdom, we can start letting go of it. Doesn't mean when someone dies, we don't have pain, but we then go through the mourning process of actually developing and going through it, and we learn something from it. Then it was the most glorious thing that ever happened to us, and because at some point we're going to do that. But a lot of people are holding on to stuff to where they can't even make the break through the barrier of where they want to actually go because they haven't dealt with that thorn that was in their leg. And so what they do is, I got a thorn on my left side, so I create an apparatus. Now I can't have anyone on my left side, and I do that. And that's how
Mm.
most human beings that I've deal with live. I'm like, pull the fucking thorn out.
It's
Yeah.
so interesting because for me, I also hear balance because I think one of the things that enabled my not only survival but like thriving, like a little optimistic thing was you remember like Annie, the sun will come out tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
course.
It was like I was like that was always like tomorrow. It's all right. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be like so it kept me.
Yeah.
But then there's a flip side to that, like A and B old 45 LP, there's always like the hit song. And then on the other side, there's like the kind of the not so good one. It's like
Right.
everything in life comes with a flip side. So I think it's balance because for me, that looking towards tomorrow and letting go and not looking back, especially when I moved around a lot. If I look back, it'd be like Medusa. I'd get frozen. I'd be stuck in another place and I wouldn't be able to move. So I let go very easily. And I just kept moving to the next and thinking it's going to get better. But that too, when it's imbalanced, is not good. Well, not that it's not good. It's not helpful, because then it's like also being able to be with what's here.
Yeah, when that's the non-dualistic way. So when
I'm
we're
saying,
yeah, because we're
Neutral.
we experience duality, but who we are never changes. So if I think about something that happened in high school, opposed to something that happened yesterday, the entity that's looking at it never changed, and that's how we time travel in a sense. So time doesn't really exist. So in the non-dualistic way, who we are is the witnesser of all the stuff that happened. Just
yeah.
like Tom Hanks is not Forrest Gump.
What? I'm just
But
kidding.
yeah, it was a role he played, but it's the same entity. So we start to seed ourselves back to who we really are. We're witnessing this stuff, and then compassion comes out of that, and that's the brilliance of it. So as children, we naturally were that way. We didn't criticize our parents. But about 7 years old, we started seeing other parents, and started going out into the world. But now we can get back there as adults with the wisdom of understanding who we are. Like, yeah,
Mm.
we are eternal, but my corporeal body, like every 7 years, I have a new body. So I gave death, it's like 7, 14, 21, 28. That body's no longer here.
Mm.
All of a sudden, but something in me was in that 7-year-old body that's in this body. When you see
That's
yourself
the
in
awareness.
that, that's when life gets really exciting, like we were children, because we didn't know about death. We weren't trying to make a friend, but we found our best friend.
Mm.
And as adults, we created this huge box to kind of contain something that can't contain. Yeah, you
Mm.
get all the Botox you want, but you're gonna get old
Hmm.
because that's
Mm.
not the same body or the same face that you had when you were in high school. It's completely
Mm.
different biologically.
As we get older, everything becomes conditional.
Yeah,
The what can I gain from this? Mind starts to come in. It categorizes it, it classifies, it judges. It's, you know, is this going to get me further? Like we have all these weird, again, neuroses that are
yeah,
developed from what we were told and what was shared with us as we were growing up. And I can't fault my parents, the teachers, etc. They were sharing this information, trying to, hey, I'm trying to help you navigate.
yeah,
It's a story of the blind leading the blind for years.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, because I believe people are trying to help us
Yeah,
by telling
naturally,
us stuff
inherently
that's
good.
not good for us. But yeah, but but here we
Inherently,
are.
people are good.
Yeah, and I think that's what it is. So there's someone
That's a
close.
beautiful belief.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
Because we get to choose our beliefs. That's the whole thing. It's like if someone says, "Oh, well, how do you know that's true?" Or it's just a belief, you're just making that up. Well, yeah, but everything is made up. Like if you could believe this, you could believe this, or you could believe that. Which one is going to be part of shaping the reality you want to experience?
Bingo.
exactly.
And
Why wouldn't you
Oh,
choose
power.
that?
Yeah,
Like,
and
because I agree with you. I agree. Like, I think people are inherently good. And therefore, I give people benefit of the doubt. I mean, fool me once, shame on me. Shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me, kind of thing. Because we also grew up in New York City.
yeah, exactly.
but
Yeah,
but we see evidence of this because
yeah,
again, what is this experience? If that's our outlook, it's going to showcase that to us.
Definitely, it will
For
be
sure.
reflected back at us,
Yeah.
right?
And that's I like that you touched on that because that's what this is. It's a huge reflection, and we're not
yeah,
taught that. We are chasing our tails, and you gotta go out here and fix outside, and
yeah,
then you can have some peace. And it's like no, 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 no. This is simply a reflection of where you were at.
yeah,
And once again, that's another sticky cultural story. When you get here, when
Yeah.
you do that,
yeah,
when you do, then you can
Mhm.
be happy, relax,
yeah,
retire, enjoy. And it's that's
yeah,
just a story. And if we don't learn how to do it now, we're
yeah,
not going to do it later.
yeah.
That this doesn't make it's not logical. I tell myself that a lot. Like if I start catching myself in the, oh well, when I just finish this project, then I can relax and enjoy. It's like, no, you don't. If I don't know how to create that sense of ease now, even when there are things going on, what makes me think I'm going to be able to do it later after I'm deep in this groove even more and more? No, that's not how it works. I create it for myself now. And again, that's a practice.
yeah.
You're totally
Yeah,
right.
because it's like living life on a layaway program. It's
Yeah,
like
exactly. But
here's
that's what
five
that's
bucks
the
each
bill
day.
of goods we're
Yeah,
sold.
That too.
yeah,
That's what we're sold.
Yep.
when you get this, then, and then the minute the goal is achieved, another one takes its place.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Every time.
Doesn't stop. Every time. Every time, because it's not out there.
No,
It's in here.
Yep. And that's
And
in,
we're not actually after the thing, we're after a feeling.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
what that thing will make us feel. Oh, I'll feel free when I get a raise, or oh, I'll feel satisfied or fulfilled when I do this. Well, we can create that for ourselves now.
Yeah. Exactly. So
Learn how this.
the sun is coming out now, not tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's right. Or the sun is coming out both now and tomorrow. That's
Yeah.
how I manage that
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
myself.
It'll always be there.
Mhm.
Is like what's here and what's coming.
Yeah.
I can hold both.
Yeah.
So, Pia, you do coaching? Do you do like one-on-one with people? How does that kind of work? Tell us about like your coaching aspect. And is that something that you got into first, or is that something that you got into after you released your book?
The last quote unquote agency job I worked at was actually at a purpose driven creative consultancy that was using creativity to drive positive change in the world.
Okay.
And the kind of work that I was doing suddenly started to look very different. It wasn't just, coming up with the concepts and copy and strategies. It was also about facilitation, because looking at what companies wanted, the positive impact they wanted to make externally, they also had to look internally too, just like what we're talking about, also within the leadership team, culture, etc. So that kind of led me into the world of coaching. And I had a friend, someone who's in my network, who's become a dear friend, who posted something on LinkedIn about coaching and awareness and shifts. And I was just like, girl, what are you doing? That sounds fascinating. And we had coffee, and she told me about, it's called Coactive Training Institute. They're based out of California, but global. What she was doing, her certification. And I said, all right, let's give this let's try. They have like an intro course. Let's see what this is about. And I fell for it. I fell head into it. It was fascinating in so many different ways. And so I did the full year, I think it was like a year and a half certification. And even though they say coaching certification is not a personal development course, you cannot help but to develop, because you're being coached, you're coaching. I mean, it's by doing, right? It's not just theory, it's also practice. So you're constantly coaching people and getting coached. And it was a really, really fascinating shift, an important shift, relational shift, to move from, as a consultant, even a creative consultant, you're like the problem solver. You're the one, whoever can figure it out, the best idea in the quickest amount of time, with least amount of budget, is the winner. Like, it's about you. And coaching is the polar opposite. It's nothing to do with me. It's about the human being in front of me. It's not about my answers. It's nothing to do with, those work for me. It's about helping people find their own. And to be able to combine that with creativity is kind of like my mixing board, right? In order to, like, I call myself a creative midwife, in order to help people birth whatever it is they're looking to birth. There's a business, it could be a brand, it could be a creative venture, it could be art, is really, really powerful. And I've come to really embrace the power of both, where they used to feel very separate. And now I'm like, oh, wait a minute, because often we separate the creation from the creator, right? And we focus on, oh, my creativity's blocked. Wait, what do you mean your creativity?
Yeah.
Is something, what's happening here, right? And so if we can get under the skin of what someone really wants to make real in the world, why is this, what makes this important? Why not? Like, what's going, like, what's stopping you? What's the vision? What does it look like? And then being able to partner with them to express it and kind of make it real in the world is really rewarding work. And so, yeah, it's one-on-one. I did do group, and then there's something about the very tailored, personalized one-to-one journey that really lights me up, which is one thing that also led to my book, because I wanted to make it more accessible. I wanted to reach more people. And so that was also kind of what gave birth to Welcome to the Creative Club.
Nice.
See.
All right.
Powerful
Yep.
stories. And is there any type of success stories that you want to share? Something like that, you're working one-on-one, or, it's something that you experienced within yourself that was beautiful, that you never could have imagined. I always like to ask questions like that, because they're inspirational for people listening. And it's like, oh, wow, that's possible.
It's funny, I remember this in coaching certification, and this kind of creates issues for some people when it comes to marketing, but you figure it out. It's like, my client's success is not mine. Like it belongs to them, and
Right.
they're ultimately responsible for whatever the outcome of our journey is. It's not mine. But I can say that helping authors rediscover their voice and get through blocks to actually publish that book, or another author who was found her way into a very different form. She used to write horror and then went into poetry, and then found a whole new channel of creative expression when she felt stuck. And to see them flourish, and to see their work in the world, to see people's work in the world that is such unique medicine that someone out there needs exactly what that person can create, and to be a part of unleashing that. Is that feels like, I don't know if the word is success. It feels like fulfillment to me, on so many levels, and helping people pivot and expand. So a lot of people come to me at what I call sticky junctures. It's like, oh, what used to work, not really working. I was there too. Like, I feel like I'm meant for more than this. I'm not quite sure what it is, or kind of know what it is, but I really could use partnership at this stage to bring that into the world, to get through, to get around myself, because usually that's what stops us, and then to get the work out is just really rewarding. And success to me, I believe the meaning of life is to live it. However simple that sounds, and it's all of our own responsibilities, if you want to call it that, or it's our own joy, our own adventure to figure out what fully living it and fully being alive feels and looks like to us. And for me, fully being alive feels like doing the work, unleashing creativity to be part of building a better world, my own and other people's. Man, I feel alive. And being in this uncertain unknown of entrepreneurship, I wouldn't change it for anything, because it's taught me so much about how I want to be in relationship with life. And I really do. It's like Michael Singer's The Surrender Experiment. Did you read that
Oh yeah.
one?
Oh
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
I,
yeah.
I feel like I'm in my own version of that. Like I do. I mean, I ain't Michael Singer, but I want to do like my own, like surrendering to life, and really like just keep practicing letting go. It's like, sometimes life feels like a current, like, there's the current in a river, right? And a lot of us, myself included, at some point, really hang on to a moss covered rock, because we're afraid. We don't know where the current's going to take us. If we let go, oh shit, there might be a waterfall. Oh my God. So I'm just going to stay here, feeling the current lapping underneath me, knowing there's some place I could go. There's something pulling me. And we need to have the courage to let go, and to see where it will take us. And that's what I want to do, because that makes me feel alive. I want to let go and see where it takes me. I want to keep releasing. And sometimes I'll grab onto another rock and go, especially if the current feels really strong, that's all right. Then I'll hopefully let go again and take another risk in the name of something that has meaning for me, and take another risk to create something else, to share something, to help someone else do that. I mean, that's really what I want to do. I want
Yeah.
to feel alive, and I want to fully live this one gift of a beautiful, meaty, fat, full flavor, juicy life I've been fucking given. Because I don't know when it's going to end. We all have a hidden expiration date. God damn it, let me live it while I'm here.
Yeah, because tomorrow in which we think may never come. And that's what it is too. It's like grabbing that mossy rock actually shows you the power of the flow of it. So there serves a purpose sometimes grabbing that. To let
Sure.
it go. Because you can't let go of something unless you're holding on to something as well.
True.
Duality world, that's what we're doing. Is like people like, oh, the universe is expanding. I'm like, is the universe expanding, or are we just taking the retraction of in which we lived in off of it? And like, yeah, so I'm expanding because I'm letting go of the things that were holding me down. Just like a hot air balloon doesn't need any more hot air. It just needs to cut the tether from the ground and it'll float. And that's,
Or maybe that's also part of it.
it's
Maybe it's just we contract and we expand, and we contract and we expand. It's like if you hold your breath, it's like, then and we just keep building up to bigger expansion, and sometimes the contraction might feel even tighter before a really big expansion. And so it's not desiring that one state of expansion all the time, because then we get lost in the desire sauce again, right? Like, it's about accepting that life is the spectrum of all emotions and experiences, and expansion comes with contraction. It's how we understand and live in the physical world, hot, cold, and all that, and accepting that, not fighting it, and understanding like, oh shit, I'm wildly uncomfortable. I'm contracting because I'm about to have one of those big ass expansion moments. All right, it's all good. Like, and then what do I need as I'm about to expand? I need this. And again, it's that like awareness and that acceptance and non-judgment, like, oh, I'm here. Okay, cool. Oh, what do I need? Like, what do I need while I'm in this contractive space? Like, oh, I need a shoulder. I need a friend. I need a partner. I need my therapist. I need froyo. What do I need?
Yeah.
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 Brilliantly said.
I love that. For our audience, Pia, where can they find your information? Why don't you tell them a little bit about like your website, your social media handles? How can they order your book? Where's the best spot to get that? How they can reach out to you if they have questions or if they want to do some coaching with you?
Kollektiv Studio is home base. So that's where you can find out everything about the work I do. You can book a chemistry call. You can find out more about Welcome to the Creative Club, but that's on Amazon, bookshop.org, Barnes and Noble. And I recently, maybe about 3 weeks ago, a month ago, launched the audiobook that I narrated. That was another big creative
Cool.
project. Yeah, I was like, whoo. And I'm about to drop a spoken word album that takes some of the poetry that's in the book. And I have a brilliant creative partner who has created tracks for each poem. And we
Nice.
put it together. So that's going to be fun. So that's coming out August 20th. And
That'll be on Spotify.
yeah,
Nice.
August 20th dropping. So I'm really excited about that. That was a lot of joy to co-create. It's like taking something that you created and then having someone else with a new perspective and different talents come in and create their version of what it made them feel, and how they would express that in a different medium, and then having those two things come together, and you're like, holy shit, this is something entirely different. This is, whoa. It's lovely. Like, it was just so much fun. So without expecting, success is just making and sharing it. Like, I'm not expecting it to hit the Billboard 100 charts or anything, but maybe someone gets moved by it. Maybe it's what one person might need. Who knows? And it was hella fun making it. Like, really, a really great co-creative process. And I believe creativity is collaboration, full stop.
Absolutely.
And that's what we're doing right now. I mean, all three of us have been co-creating this moment, this conversation, to share with other people who are then co-creating with it. And it goes on. I mean, we are natural born creators, and I think the more that we can really sit in our creative director's chair of our lives and to creatively direct our next scene, the more empowered, fulfilled, and free we are. And that's really what my book is, an invitation for everyone to do, is just to become the creative directors of their lives.
All right.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
So well said.
brilliantly said. Yeah, because that's what we need more in the world. So
Hell yeah. This is an interesting, just quickly, I know we're wrapping. I feel like I could talk to both of you for like
yeah,
hours.
we're good.
Absolutely. Keep going.
So it's in a time of destruction, we need creators more than anything.
Yeah.
Amen.
Whew!
Hey, look
So
at the Dark Ages was preceded by the Renaissance, right?
Mhm.
there you go.
That's what changed the world, and here we are coming to another what we call another Renaissance moment right now. And we're seeing it. We're seeing the new ideas, kind of like the ideas you're putting out there, and everyone else. You put yourself in the same category as Michael Singer. This is the Renaissance of the new age coming in. And I don't like to use the word new age, but this is what's happening.
New era. I'll give you that.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. And people are thirsty for this.
Yeah.
They were dying to get out of the Dark Ages, and they came into the Renaissance, and it changed everything. And here we are at next level, and part of it.
Age of Aquarius,
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah. There you go.
It's true. We're seeing
It's true.
people
Yeah.
are waking up. The energy,
Yeah.
you can feel it. It is great out there. There's so much
It
to
is.
celebrate right
Yeah.
now, and that's why we're
It's
honored,
true.
to have you on the
Yeah.
show. You sharing your perspective with the audience. It's great to see this community grow and see this information become more readily available.
Yeah. And then just with a different voice behind it that such you have. It's great.
I'm so I lived in London for a while. They have a great expression. It's like called chuffed, which is like happy, but in a British way. I'm so chuffed and grateful and delighted that you both are out here sharing your energy, your stories, and helping to create perspective shifts in the world, because I think it's really needed as we enter the age of Aquarius and the Renaissance. We definitely need more shifts in perspectives and different ways of looking at things and being in the world and being together, and also an invitation for how the world we want to build together. And that's what I feel like y'all are doing on this podcast. So I'm just keep shining.
I
Keep
love it.
roaring like the Leo lion you are.
Love it.
Cheerio.
Yeah. Thank you for the
Yeah.
time today, Pia.
Yeah.
Thank you both. It was a real pleasure.
All right.
Absolutely. We'll see
Bless
you
you.
soon.
All right. Be well.
See you soon. Bye.
Thanks, Pia.